We are mostly through the Q2 earnings season, although we're going to get a few notables this week, including CoreWeave tomorrow night. Today, JP Morgan takes it from 66, Jim, to 135. And I know you're watching the date of the unlock.
Yeah, I mean, that's the 15th, so it's coming right up. That's 83% of Class A stock will come free. Dave, this thing priced in 40s. It's obvious. By the way, they sold some. Michael Intrater, the CEO, he actually sold some stock before it came public.
Yeah.
Should he sell some stock if he wants to diversify? Well, I can tell you this is that the stock's not set up that way. Stock acts as if people won't sell.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We talked about this lockup. Remember, I also talked about some unrestricted shares that came unrestricted from a 144A deal they did prior to going public.
Yes, exactly right.
You know, obviously down from its highs, but an incredible performer since. They have since announced that deal to acquire Core Scientific that, as I had reported a few weeks ago, was going to get opposition from shareholders of Core Scientific. It has. There's a firm called 2Cs that has filed a proxy to oppose the deal, and we don't even have a shareholder vote. But that goes back to what's the stock going to do when the lockup expires, Jim, and how big, if any, damage will there be to CoreWeave stock?
Well, look, I think Michael's a smart enough guy to try. He was a trader by nature before this. He's a smart enough guy to figure out what price and how much you can sell. I wouldn't bet against this company because of the lockup being expired, because I think he's too shrewd. I also know that NVIDIA owns a lot of stock. NVIDIA is very close to Michael. I don't know whether NVIDIA want to be a seller. Why do they need it? So, I don't know, Carl, overall, I'm cognizant that if you don't go up big and buy it for the quarter, knowing that there's a lockup expiration, at the same time, I don't think the trader could destroy his own stock. I really don't.
We'll see. We'll talk about a few more names that are coming up this week in terms of reporting. There's the opening bell and the CNBC Real-Time Exchange. And the big board is CF Industries, maker of hydrogen and nitrogen products, celebrating 20 years at the NASDAQ. It's Deep World, ARC Acquisition, One Corp, a SPAC celebrating our recent IPO. This week, Jim, we'll also get Circle. We got Chime last week, so some of these recent IPOs have at least given their debut results.
Yeah, David had Chime, and Chime is pleasant enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, Brett, yeah. Quarter didn't get particularly well responded to when they reported it.
Now, Circle, remember, these things became, CoreWeave started a new meme wave of IPOs. So CoreWeave's 40, next thing goes to 180. Then, of course, Circle followed that. When you say anything about Circle will immediately tell you that you don't know anything, which I always love. I always love to know I know nothing. When I puts myself in perspective.
Yes.
And then we had Figma. Darn tootin'. I didn't like Figma when it got over 100.
No, you did, man. You were right not to. And, of course, stock did come down, Figma. Priced at 33, but it's still an incredible performer, as you see.
But it's good.
In the brief time it's been a public company, still up some 136% going into trading this morning.
It's a good company. It's AI. It's a real competitor. Remember, you got Conv on the low end, you got Figma.
You do have to be careful with these because, I mean, it was almost double that price, so, you know.
Well, yeah, and then some clown came on TV and started eating Fig Newtons and said, don't buy it.
I wonder who that clown would have been. It's interesting hearing you describe yourself as a clown.
I have some issues with myself.
How do you speak with Fig Newtons in your mouth?
It was very hard. I felt that I owed an apology to my mother, who always said, don't eat and talk at the same time.
Fig Newtons, and I was sorry to see them wasted like that on your keyboard.
Now he's talking.
Yes.
Yeah. Biafra, I know.
You were right, though. By the way, stock went right down.
Whatever. It's so meta.
As for earnings, Jim, we are tracking for 11.7% growth, which is another quarter of double digit. Although B of A today, companies that are missing are lagging by 8 points. That's 3 times the normal lag for people who miss.
You know, it's funny. It's not just miss. If you do not raise, if you just affirm the rest of the year, people take you apart. And I think that that's something that people at home may not understand. That in other words, if you are not saying, hey, not only did we beat the numbers, but we're also going to beat the next quarter. For instance, I have a company called UL Solutions on today. And UL Solutions put up a perfectly good number, a beat and raise, but didn't raise the full year.
I was going to say the same thing about pins last week, Jim.
Oh, I know.
They got in line, MAU's up 11, right? You had Bill ready.
Oh, my God, and I thought, and Bill is so good. I thought that they would be able to raise the rest of the year. It's been such a good company, and I feel like pins and Reddit, by the way, are hidden scrapers. In other words, if you're chat,
If you're ChatGPT, right, you can run all over them and use their content to help inform your large language model.
Yes,
Yeah.
and not
Frontier
just
models.
them, the other guys too, Gemini.
Right. Gemini.
Perplexity is considered to be the biggest theft.
Right.
Do you know that they're considered to be the worst actor in the group?
In terms of at least, you mean
the most
copyright infringement?
Now, have you been following this New York Times lawsuit against Microsoft? This is one you got to follow.
Okay.
Because remember, Dow Jones gets what, 50 million per year.
Yeah.
For them have stuff taken. The New York Times has a lawsuit that if they win, I think it's going to be monumental.
There is a case to be made that so much of this does come from reporting that was by the likes of New York Times and many other news organizations.
I read the pleadings. I feel like that we all as journalists have to stand for what the New York Times is saying. Because we're all even us. We say some stuff. Believe me, they come up with. You should take a look at the New York Times lawsuit. How the way that they actually just plagiarize. I mean, if they were doing this in school, we'd kick them all out, or make them take a semester off, or whatever they do now. We're not allowed to get in trouble.
I'm not sure what they do now because everybody uses chat to write everything.
Well, no, but I'm saying that the worst offenders. I'm Perplexity. I can show you that some of these guys chat. They'll have a New York Times story side by side in the lawsuit, and you'll say, "Are you kidding me? They spent billions with NVIDIA on chips, but they rip off the New York Times with 10 million subs and high-quality journalism." I was going to go out with this. I asked my staff, I said, "Is the New York Times too liberal talking like this?" And I said, "What does it matter? The plagiarizing. It doesn't matter."
To your point, as well, the New York Times digital is obviously the key to the company's present and future, and as a result of people using AI for their queries as opposed to the old Google search algorithm, there's no longer this search engine optimization. You're not getting to a link that brings you to the New York Times, which is very different. So the New York Times and CNBC, everybody across the board has had to start to change their business model. They're not quite sure about what, as they watch their revenues come down as a result of people not coming to their sites.
They used to change the algorithm, you can make a new change. No, not anymore. It's like, wow, nice summary, often ripped off from the New York Times or others, and then to Gemini, and you're no longer unique. When I was at the street.com, this would be like financial suicide.
Oh my gosh, because you're traffic.
Because your traffic just plummets.
80% of the traffic I would do. 80% of the traffic.
Of course.
It would be like I called Google. And I said, I got to speak to somebody. Well, why don't you, leave a voicemail?
Right. Or talk to our AI box. At the end of that.
Sure. I'd be like, what happened to the numbers? Take a look at 2000 and 2009 when they changed the algo.
Well, then you can figure out something new to get it back, but no longer. Guys,
I did with Albert this week, baby.
With who? What?
You know that Meta is going to rule any day now. Judge Meta, the guy who called it a monopolist, he's going to rule.
HTA.
Yeah, Judge Meta. I was like, wow.
No.
Zuckerberg's now a judge?
No.
He's ruling in his own trial.
First incredible. Martial arts, now law.
It's amazing, that Zuckerberg. He's also taking control of that neighborhood.
A huge compound.
A distinguished jurist.
He has his own little private school. And now he's a judge.
He's jury, he's judge, he's prosecutor, he's a billionaire. We're nothing. Let's just go on the game, we'll go home.
Judge and jury, back to our president. Apple shares are down about 1.6% after a record run last week in which, of course, there is a belief that the iPhone will not be subject to any significant tariffs, although we haven't heard anything specific about that. By the way, if I make sure you get to sell in the U.S. exempt-free, and I want a piece of it now, right? Do I get 10%?
Why do you think the stock's down?
Do I get 10% of that, Jim? Does that make sense?
Is it a read-through from NVIDIA?
I think that's people saying, you know what? I got to ring the register.
Tim, I'm going to take 10% because I'm exempt.
Look at all the market cap you just gained.
Yeah.
What hurt you to give us the argument?
That's the argument you were making in 901. How do you feel?
Oh no, I changed my mind. 9:37. I don't work like that, Chief.
You don't? No, you change your mind every 3
Hey,
minutes.
listen, Sunshine, that is a good reason to sell.
It's been below the 200 days since March. It just got above it last couple
of days. That was some short squeeze,
yes.
How about that short squeeze? They were all waiting for the Judge Meta.
Meantime, there are some reports today out of Bloomberg that India is a good example, where we're starting to see some multinational boycott pressure on McDonald's and Coke, Amazon, Apple, because those are trade talks that have not gone as well as some hoped.
Those have not gone well.
Yeah.
But then again, if the president solves Ukraine this week,
by giving Putin that land swap.
Well, look, you don't want to be Chamberlain. You don't want peace in our time. Give them the Sudetenland land and gives the rest not an inability to defend Czechoslovakia.
Then the war hadn't really started. Now the war's been going on for, what is it, 4 years?
That was a bad. I don't like to analogize typically World War II, but there was a Munich conference, which I suggest you're aware of. Munich, The Price of Peace by Telford Taylor. 1,000 pages. You knocked it out this weekend.
Okay.
Oil did move Friday on some of those initial headlines about the meeting.
Well, look, I got to tell you that India looks like a client state of Russia.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
Do you enjoy a UFC fight there, Jim? Do you enjoy the watching two people in a ring?
I know I should. I
beating
spend
the
a lot
holy hell out of each other?
I banged out a lot of Tolstoy this weekend. I didn't get a chance.
No. Well, there are a lot of fans of the UFC, as we have detailed many times here on CNBC. And there's a deal this morning in which TKO, which of course owns the UFC, has negotiated a new distribution agreement with Paramount. Something of a surprise. The thoughts had been perhaps they would follow on the recent deal they did with the WWE, also owned by TKO, with ESPN, with another deal, or sell the rights to the UFC to a number of different potential participants. Not the case. Paramount is going to be the sole exclusive provider beginning in 2026 for your UFC fights. And by the way, you're not going to have to pay $80 a month on top of what you're already paying to get certain fights. It's all going to be available. And what I've heard and others are is $1.1 billion is what they're going to be paying a year. And again, that starts in 2026. That's a big number for Paramount. Talked to a couple of other of the companies that were at least taking a look, and none of them, as you might expect, were willing to go to $1.1 billion. That roughly doubles what TKO has been getting under its current deal with the UFC, which is with ESPN. I'm going to have an opportunity to speak to both Ariel Emanuel and Mark Shapiro, who run TKO, about the deal, which comes right after, of course, Paramount itself has entered the public markets under the new ticker PSky and in its new incarnation, being the merger of Paramount and Skydance. I did ask David Ellison on Friday, when he sat down with us right here on CNBC, about the focus for the company, and no surprise, of course, sports was amongst those focuses. Take a listen.
What we're going to do is restructure our business to run significantly more efficiently, and we're really going to invest into our growth areas like studios and streamings and sports.
Right.
And I think what's important between my family and our partners with Jerry Cardinale and Redbird, we own 70% of the economics of this business. So we are focused on one thing, which is truly long-term value creation.
And there you have it, making an investment now, guys, that, some would say, woo, that is a big number, but in the belief that it will pay off over time and not necessarily concerned with the shorter-term impact.
Are they playing with the house's money, so to speak? Larry Ellison?
Well, Larry Ellison has contributed as much as, I think it was $6 billion originally to the deal, and I think over time, perhaps, if there's a need for more capital, it can't hurt to have the second richest man in the world there.
And why didn't Amazon want this?
I don't know. I'll ask, obviously, when I speak to Ari and Mark, in terms of where the competitive landscape was, but certainly there was a belief perhaps, Netflix or ESPN or Warner Brothers Discovery certainly were in there as well.
Do we get a rebate, those of us where they're our agent? Do we get a dividend?
You don't get anything, no. But just make sure you pay, and pay on time.
Checks in the mail, Jim.
Yeah, all right. Make sure you don't stiff your agent.
Kind of a no?
No.
How about a stock buyback?
You get nothing. You get nothing, and you're going to like it.
Meantime, AMC pre-market is higher. I don't know if you saw the quarter-on-quarter attendance up 50%. Revenue per patron above $12. Food and beverage all-time high, $7.50.
Well, look, they got to fix that balance sheet. Get that stock up, make it a meme stock again, and then offer some more stock.
Yep.
That would make me feel better. They really still didn't. They never fixed the balance sheet. That's why the stock's at 3. Remember, they also did a reverse split, so it's not. Don't get your hopes up there.
Well, I never did. I never did.
Box office.
Adam Aaron was able to pull out a lot of money, though.
Well, but he was first state planet. See, David doesn't know.
State
State
planet.
planet.
Yeah.
That's what's doesn't count.
It doesn't count. But his estate,
He
it
would
counts
tell
for
you,
that.
now right now he's going to say, I announced it, I was out there, I said it,
He
so
did.
give me a break,
He
Jim.
did. Listen,
Give me
it's
plenty of chance to sell for the people, the media people
better
who
to
want
be
to go.
lucky than smart. It's like he didn't control the fact that
No.
it became a meme craze and was able to sell.
No.
Obviously, they sold a lot of stock in the market as well.
Right, and all of his
to raise
main people
capital.
had a great chance to go, no, but they felt, you know what, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's the CEO. I'm sticking with it.
Did they buy a gold mine in there at one point?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a gold exposure there.
IMAX is a nice contrast, though. A 5-year chart of IMAX,
IMAX is
which
doing really
has
well.
leveraged a fairly healthy North American box office this summer.
That's the winner in that space. They've done really well. Good for them.
Rich Gelfond.
Yeah. And I think he just extended too.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Say there's a contributor?
He'll like that.
He will.
Jim, Bitcoin's on the move today. A lot of the crypto stocks as well. We're not quite back to 123K. but we're
Well,
close.
it just continues to be. Anytime you ever hear about what size the deficit is, or David, you know that the trillions of dollars in the interest
Yes.
has made a lot of younger people feel, this and Ethereum are a better place to be. I'm a huge believer in this, by the way, because I have very little faith that we're going to be able to grow our way out of it. I cannot think about how we're going to grow our way out of our situation yet. Maybe
You mean our debt to GDP?
I've not been able to figure out a way, so it's a great hedge against the.
It conceivably is.
Right.
But if there's financial Armageddon, Bitcoin hangs in there, you think?
Yeah, I do.
What about when
That's-
quantum breaks the encryption?
Okay, I'm very worried
That'll
about
be a
that.
bad day.
I'm very worried about that, and I'm going to be talking about quantum tonight.
Because you've gotten more constructive on quantum.
Yes, I have.
Why?
Because Jensen Huang sat next to me and said, Jim, maybe quantum's not as far away as I thought. That was a crucial moment in my metamorphosis.
Remember when they all took off in terms of what
Well, that was-
that was
that was-
Alphabet when they came out, right?
Yes, but then Jensen said, look, I think it's for real. We just
IBM's playing.
IBM has got really good. They've got a great quantum unit. Dave, what you got there?
When you guys were talking crypto, this Alt 5 Sigma, well, you probably don't know. It's the Witkoff, Zach Witkoff, co-founder and CEO of World Liberty Financial, Eric Trump, Zach Folkman. There's
It's like a
another
following.
one of these where they basically, raised $1.5 billion in a direct offering,
Okay.
and are going out and buying crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why not?
Just noting that one. That's all. The MicroStrategy strategy has now been duplicated by so many. Saylor was way ahead. Way ahead.
But, David came in and explained to me the mathematics of another fellow comes on TV with us.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Tom Lee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
active
Ethereum.
right?
Yes. And
You
it's
would not want to be an Ethereum
EMNR.
short.
No,
EMNR, right? Isn't that
no,
it?
I like Ethereum.
EMNR. Let me check the
I'm a
seller
buyer
on
of
that.
Ethereum.
It is not trading at quite, Bitmine immersion, not quite the multiple it was to its underlying Ethereum, but it is still trading. It's supposed to be a play on Ethereum, but these things
Yeah.
don't trade one-to-one on what they have. And yeah, Tom Lee is the chairman.
I would buy Ethereum. I would buy
Looking good
Bitcoin.
right now on BMNR. That's a
Well,
$6.5 billion market cap on that.
Wow. Can they sell or do they sell stock? I mean,
Yeah.
individuals? Can they get out of stock, take advantage of the run? Is there a lockup?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Always better say that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
A good idea. Jim,
My math was correct, though, from when I talked to Tom that day.
I came down. Actually, I thought
You
that
did. No, my math was
was
correct.
unbelievable reporting by.
There it is. I mean, hello.
Unlike
Look at that.
that was good. You came out. You explained it.
Yeah, explained it.
another chart, guys. Year-to-date highs is MSOS, Jim, as there's more discussion about whether the White House reschedules cannabis to Schedule 3 from 1.
With a lot of low-dollar stocks there. I'm
They've been waiting for these days for years.
Yeah, I just feel like that. I don't want to get people's hopes in that group.
Certainly has weighed on the spirits industry to some degree, right?
Oh my
And the
God!
beers.
No, the spirits people who are completely dispirited, but also just refusing to admit reality. Cannabis, okay. GOP-1 and the desire of this incredible group, this one of these XYZs, Gen Z, they want to look and feel better.
They want to look and feel better.
Yeah, and they care about what it does to their brain, their canals, the canals in their brain. I was worried about the Panama Canal when I was that age. Wrong canal.
I want to look and feel better too.
Then just stop tricking your darn fool head off.
But it gets harder and harder. I've noticed.
Pretty straightforward opening this morning. Dow's up 5, S&P's up 4. VIX below 16 is one to watch. And, of course, we're in for a big run of macro data this week. We'll get CPI tomorrow, PPI Thursday, retail sales, UMISH, and all the regular things, mortgage apps and claims. Stay with us. Well, between Intel and NVIDIA and Micron, a lot of news surrounding the chips today. ARM Holdings actually the #1 gainer at the open for the NDX, although the Dow has just now dipped into the red. We'll get stopped trading with Jim in just a moment. time for Jim to stop trading.
You know, I had Elf on last week, Carl, and this is a heavily shorted stock. Morgan Stanley agrees with me, hold to buy. The reason I like it, this is a cosmetics company, the most inexpensive cosmetics, is because they have the rights to Rhode, which is a very hot cosmetic from Hailey Bieber, and it's going to be in Sephora next month. So they're saying, listen, this is something you want to be excited about. My sources indicate, including looking at Reddit, that this is going to be people lying around lying around the block to get into Sephora, and that you don't want to be short the stock ahead of that launch.
Does that extend to Ulta and EL and other beauty names?
I think Ulta is going to kind of not a winner or loser on that. I don't want to see, if you're Ulta, you never want to see Sephora have any win. And this is a win for Sephora. Elf just went into Dollar General. I want David to go to my Dollar General because it's not necessarily the place where you would want, say, cosmetics, higher-end cosmetic in, but Dollar General is a good format. They're in many, many places. Good rural distribution.
Rural. Yes. It's hard, Philly.
Yeah, and how are my rural Philadelphia Phillies doing against your rural?
The border?
Yeah, your metropolitan.
My Queens boys, things aren't going well.
No,
not
thank
going
you.
well.
That's because you spend so much money, but not as well as our team.
Apparently so. It's a long season.
What about tonight?
Okay, I've got Stearns, which is, by the way, Brian Krasinski runs it. Ships for autos. Brian Krasinski played of Intel. Jennifer Scanlon, who just moderated a panel on quantum. And yes, the principal existential risk for crypto is that quantum figures out how to bust it. You don't want that, Dave.
No, you don't.
If we ever get there, we'll run this tape. I'll tell you that.
Oh, will we ever?
Yeah.
And you with your Jeff, you don't even know who Jeff Probst is, but if you did, you would know when he says, ain't got nothing for you. That means you're getting voted off the island. You're not going home. You're going to go home with nothing.
Thank you. That's a Survivor? Is that the name of that?
Survivor.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Wiz,
I heard it's pretty good.
television show of all time, and he doesn't even know what it is.
Except for this one.
I watched the first season like
Except
everybody
for our
else.
show.
We'll see you tonight, Jim. Mad Money, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's walk on the streets back after this.
on Peacock.
Good Monday morning. Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. I'm Sarah Eisen with Carl Cantinia and David Faber, live as always from post time at the New York Stock Exchange. Stocks are rallying on this Monday morning, just a little bit. We're at 5 points on the S&P, NASDAQ again unchanged. Dow up 3. Big report of the week is going to be CPI tomorrow. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Ahead of that, we've got Treasuries on the move. They're still almost 100% odds of a rate cut being priced in for September. The 10-year a little bit lower, so there's buying at the long end, and then the short end, some selling with the 2-year note yield a little bit firmer, 3.76%. Today, new reports NVIDIA and AMD will pay the U.S. government a portion of China chip sale revenues. As the Intel CEO makes his way to the White House, we've got all the details from Washington. And then breaking news this morning on a new home for UFC, Paramount Plus. TKO Holdings CEO Ari Emanuel and President Mark Shapiro will be here at the New York Stock Exchange. Plus, Barrick Mining just reporting earnings as we await clarification on these gold tariffs. The CEO joins us first on CNBC in just a few minutes.
The president is set to speak this hour on a busy morning for headlines when it comes to the semis. Let's get to Eamon Javers this morning from the White House. Hey, Eamon.
Carl, that's right. We were expecting the president right at the top of 10 o'clock. Looks like they're running a little bit behind here. And a whole lot to hear from the president of the United States this morning. He's going to be talking about crime in D.C. and a new effort that they're putting in place here to use federal law enforcement to solve the crime problem in D.C. But what we're going to be interested in from a market's perspective are a couple of things. One is this report now confirmed by a White House official to me that the AMD and NVIDIA have both agreed to give 15% of their chip sales to the U.S. government in exchange for the permission to export those chips. A White House official flagging some comments by the Commerce Secretary Lutnick over the weekend in which he said, look, that's just NVIDIA's fourth